Welcome to Soul Loom, a space where the threads of lived experience, energy, and insight are gently woven into a path of remembering, reconnection, and becoming. Today, my guest is Linda Willow Roberts. Linda is an award-winning Australian spiritual teacher, international speaker, and manifestation mentor with over 35 years' experience. She's the curator of the Manifestation Flowchart course and the I Am a Manifester Magical Oracle cards. Linda is a certified psychic medium, angel intuitive, Reiki master, Theta Healing practitioner and instructor, including wealth consciousness and a human design practitioner. She helps people clear blocks, align their energy, and live deliberately through practical spiritual tools, intuitive guidance, and grounded real-world application. Linda works with clients worldwide, supporting deep transformation, clarity, and aligned success. In this conversation, we're going to explore how Linda's lived experience has shaped her work, how her understanding of manifestation evolved over time, and what it looks like to apply spiritual principles in a grounded, practical way. Linda, welcome to Soul Loom.
Hi, Michelle. Thanks for having me. That was a mouthful.
It's a huge bio, but 35 years is going to be a huge bio. So Linda and I actually first met because we were both nominated in last year's Alibi Awards for the spiritual business category, of which Linda won. So you are the spiritual business recipient for that award.
Yeah, I was. I was shocked. Yeah, but go on.
I think you're always shocked.
Yeah.
But it was a really good night. We had a fantastic time. That's where we originally came across each other. So for those that may be listening who don't know you or have heard of your name wafting around the spiritual space, how do you describe who you are now beyond the titles and all the modalities that you practice and the work that you feel most called to at this stage of your life?
Yeah. Well, I like myself.
That's important.
That was the starting point. I didn't like my life experiences, what I was like, what I was doing. And so after doing all of the modalities that I've done and the purging and the releasing and the letting go, I think personally, I have better life experiences and I like who I am now. And I think that once you learn to fill that void with yourself, you then want to teach. I've done all these things that have worked for me, because really the first half of my life was shit. And now I get to teach people, how to change your life experiences and how to live deliberately. But manifestation, I've always been able to manifest for other people, and I was an overgiver. And then I realized I could manifest for myself. And so then started the balancing of that. So I like to teach energy, and it is everything. And I like to teach energy in motion and how when we build that energy channel to the creator and tap in and use manifestations, skills and techniques, how it can become instant like that. And I think Theta Healing actually brought and was the glue that put it all together. So manifestation has changed so much over the last 30 years, but it's beautiful because now science is called up and know that we can, grow new neurons, pathways to what we want to manifest. And it's a state of being, really, that we're connected to everything.
And manifestation is not some crazy woo-woo practice.
No.
It's something that even the greatest business people out there, I'm talking the Oprah Winfreys and the Bransons and the Tony Robbins, they all manifest. They all know the theory, and it's a pretty easy theory. I mean, I teach it as well. It's not complex. Once you know how to do it and you can align yourself, you can manifest whatever you want. I think people think it's something that's really difficult and only certain people know how to do, but we can all do it.
Yeah, we can. We just need to learn how to do that. And, the first biggest question I think that people get stuck on is, what do I want? And they then have an idea in their mind of the outcome and what it should look like. But it's the feeling that you need to be in, but you really need to have manifestation stick for you. And that's what the manifestation flowchart's about. It's an ascension course. It starts at the core. You do need to purge those things, because it's even when you break up in a relationship or a marriage, you feel like, you get to a stage where you've cried enough and you think the time has passed, but you really haven't learnt the lessons behind what happened and evolved. And then you go out and start looking for another partner, still being that same vibration, then you'll attract that same vibration partner in, and you get that reoccurring pattern. So unless you really go deep and do that purge, I mean, I wrote 57,000 words, and I thought it was going to be a book. I have written a book, but it wasn't this one. But that was my big purge. That was me just doing the big dump. And there was tough days. Like I cried and I just couldn't go back to it. And then I'd go back and release more and more stuff. And it was the biggest purge. And as I was doing it, my vibration was changing and I was getting all these opportunities coming in. And it was just beautiful, It was really, really beautiful. And it's wonderful to watch people transform
Yeah.
and see the magic in the ordinary and see the miracles start to happen in their life. And it's just like, that's all you need sometimes, is just to see somebody making headway in their life.
And it's such a visible change when you work with people and you start getting them on that road that allows their energy to align. It happens so quickly.
Yeah.
And I think people are blown away with how simple it is. And, oh, if I know I'd known this, 5 minutes ago, 5 years ago, back when I was a teenager, and I really wished I'd known how to do this. And it's really interesting. I actually just was recording a podcast with someone, and we were actually talking about the way writing is such a healing thing that even if you don't think you want to write a book, if you just get out a piece of paper or a journal, or if you're not someone who can write, open that recorder on your phone and talk or write your story down.
Yeah.
It really allows you to lean into the story and lean into the emotion and work through those emotions on the page. And it's such an easy thing to do and a place to start.
Yeah. Some people don't know where to start. They say, where do I start? Because I talk to them, and in my book of 7/8 of Me, A Tale of a Spiritual Adventure, I've still got in there how to write it out. And they say, well, where do I start? And I say, go back to the happiest that you ever were, and then what was happening before that. Go back to before that and start finding. See, with Theta Healing, we do digging for belief systems, and we can go up to the seventh plane and the creator, and the creator gives us a roadmap straight to the block. But we always need the client to invest in their growth, have some sort of investment. They need to find that truth, and they need to start doing it when they're ready. You can't teach somebody and help them purge or let go of stuff unless they're ready. So they've got to be wanting to have that different life-changing experiences happen in their life, and know that I'm different, but I'm still the same. And so you still keep that personality that you are, but you mature, I suppose. You spiritually mature and are ready to be that karmic, that person that gets rid of the karmic lessons in your life. I'm a reflector in human design, so I seem to reflect to people what they need to work on. And so you always go back to, if triggers are treasures, if a trigger comes up and it bothers you, then you go back to when you first felt that in this life. But with Theta Healing, we can go back and do past lives as well. Whatever work you do in this life helps 7 generations in the back end and 7 generations in the future. So you're not just doing it for you anymore. That's where manifestation and energy work's changed, because we've elevated as a humanity. So we have these clearer people, and the lessons and the virtues are coming up so much clearer and easier to let go of, that, maybe one day the kids will be born with no karmic past that they have to let go of out of conditioning.
I really want to touch on that Theta Healing because I don't know a lot about it. You've been in the spiritual space for 35 years, and I myself, I've been doing this since I was a young teenager. And the spiritual space has changed so much. Like
Yeah.
I could imagine, like me, 35 years ago, you didn't just walk out and tell everybody you knew that, oh, I'm doing this and I'm doing that,
Yeah.
because people looked at you and went, whoa, like, who are you and what are you talking about?
Yeah.
But what was your early experience? What brought you into this spiritualism space?
Well, I used to do cards, always had a knowing, even like in a teenager, always had this knowing, this gut feeling. So did my dad, and it's on his side and it's on mum's side. But then people used to come round to my house when we were like in our teenage years, and I'd do cards for them. And I started using playing cards. I nicked a book from the local library, which is teaching you how to read playing cards, and I still have it. And it's like, you know, I just wanted it because I knew if I took it back, I would never retain that information. But yeah, I started with playing cards and then went on to tarot and then oracle cards. And then in my 20s, like I'm 60, I turned 60 last year. In my 20s, I started following Doreen Virtue and I had her cards. And then I followed Louise Hay and did, you know, a few of Louise Hay 10-week courses, and followed Lillian too in feng shui, because I wanted to have better life experiences. You know, my first marriage, my daughter's father, it was terrible. I don't know what. Oh, we're trying to turn shit.
What you were thinking?
We were trying to turn shit into strawberry jam, and it just didn't work. Yeah, but you know, you want to. It comes from this need to want to have a better life, but at the same time, the spiritual slaps that I was getting from the universe, trying to show me my path, and I was like, "Yep, no, I'm going this way. Yep, no, I'm going this way." You know, and it was really spirit. It was just pointing me in the direction of like, you have got things to help people with, and you've got to do these things. And, you know, I'm a Leo Sag, so I'm really quite
Wow.
fire. And when I was 20, I was like a bit of a wild child. But I think that it's just helped me balance that the masculine and the feminine, and really grow as a person. And you know, I couldn't find a spiritual teacher when I was looking for one back then, because like you said, they were, you know, everybody was hard about it. You know,
it was all cloak and dagger. We didn't talk about it. We didn't mention it to our friends because they looked at us crazy.
Yeah, I lived in Tassie. That's where I'm from, and we used to go and see this tea leaf lady named Mrs. Rossiter, and everybody knew that if you're going out there, you're going to see Mrs. Rossiter. Even the spiritual people that I found way back then, what was trying to show me the path that I was going to go on, but I wasn't, like, I had my head in the sand, and I just wanted answers to my questions with my outcomes. And it was like I'd go to a clairvoyant or a tea leaf lady, Mrs. Rossiter, and she'd tell me something, and I'd just like straight over the top of my head, and I'm like, yeah, no, that's not what I came here for.
You didn't tell me what I wanted to hear.
Exactly. And then later down the track, I actually had people coming to me to teach me a lesson that some people you can't help, that I didn't say words that they wanted to hear when I was doing readings. But I gave up readings a long time ago because I got sick of people asking, when was the one coming? And you've got to be that vibration to bring that person in. And you have a relationship with everything in your life. And so if you don't get that right, and I'm single, I've been married twice, so that's been probably a lot of my learning lessons this lifetime, is what I'm worth, and overgiving. And, you know, there's a lot of stuff that I've worked on myself in relationships. So, yeah, you certainly, you can be very successful in one area, but there's one area you've got to work on. You know, this is a learning planet. This is what we've come here to do.
This is the classroom. That's right. Yeah, we've got such a similar story. I was exposed to it in much the same ways, and I also found that when I went on my journey of, you know, learning cards and tarot, and I love reading tarot, but it gets exhausting when every single person that floats in front of you just wants to know Is he going to stay? Is he going to come? And it's like, the fact that you're even sitting here in front of me is telling you that answer.
I've even been that person going to them and still.
Oh, so have I.
If you've got to ask, if it's not a fuck yes, it's a fuck no. If you've got to ask, I don't know where my head was, but yeah, it's plain as day now. Yeah, but anyway.
So I'd really love to know more about the Theta Healing, what that is, how it works, and what it does for people when they engage with that.
Yeah, I've only just become certified in the last couple of years, but a teacher in Tasmania who said to me, "You're doing it anyway, so I might as well teach you this," but I wasn't certified, so I never actually went down that path. But when I had the spiritual teacher in Tasmania, oh my God, it was, for having been married a couple of times and being in domestic violence situations and stuff like that, and having an addictive personality, a lot of those conditioning things from your family, you bring through your whole life and you don't realize it. And I think I'd been to enough counselors and psychologists and trying to, get rid of it and deactivate all of that. But nothing really worked until I started getting theta on myself. And then, oh my God, I'd go to Louise and she'd do a theta session on me and I'd walk out of there and my body felt lighter. Colours were more vibrant and I started to feel different, but still the same. So I've done probably about 16 theta certifications now, and I'm a practitioner and an instructor. Now, theta was designed, created by Vienna in America. She found this. She actually was sick and healed herself, but she found it out of healing somebody else. And I've learnt through Mark and Teresa in Sydney. They're just beautiful people. So theta is a brainwave that we go up to. So we stay here and we have 7 planes and we go up to the 7th plane, and that is where the creator is. So it's just all white light and unconditional love. There's no negative. And so I will sit with a client and they'll come to me and they might have a problem that normally, because that's why they come to us, because they've got a problem that they want solved or figure out. And we might start talking, what is it? Why are you here today? What do you want to work on? And I do sometimes ask them not to tell me too much because I'd rather go up to the creator, and the creator goes straight to the bottom belief is what we shift. So I'm a Reiki master. So when we're doing Reiki, it comes through us and comes out our hands. But theta comes a direct channel from the creator to the person. It doesn't need to come through us. Okay. And so I'll sit and talk to the client and then I'll go up and I'll ask the creator, can we remove this block and pattern, and this is where it's from, and we'll do a process of releasing it, and then we'll teach the client that it's safe and it's possible that she can have and keep this healing, and then we replace the perfect replacements for those things, and so the creator comes in and replaces those, and we sit back and we witness it. So the client can sit there with their eyes open, their eyes closed, they're not hypnotized or anything like that. And then I just sit there and witness what the creator is doing in shifting those things and those blocks and letting it go. And so we're talking about holistically mind, body and soul things. So when I've done sessions with people that I've worked on an emotion that's come up, that they're flustered, they're, running, they're never not able to stop and take a breath and blah, blah, blah. And then 2 weeks later, she's emailed me and said, I haven't used my puffer since you were here. Now, I'm not a doctor, so I would never medically say don't use something, but she said, I haven't used my puffer since you've been here. I can breathe. So, even back in Louise Hay's day when I was in my 20s, we talked about, how it shows up physically and emotionally. We can remove it within a second. And so I can go into a theta brainwave like that. And that's what you do when you're a theta healer. You actually tap into the creator like that really quickly. It's amazing work. I can't put into words how beneficial it is for clients to do. It just changes people's lives within minutes. And they all get up and they all say the same thing, that they feel really light in their body. So your heart's supposed to be as light as a feather, and they can't get over that. And I always feel their body with us, the Creator, to feel their body with every cell with unconditional love. And some people have never felt unconditional love before. And it touches their soul and their eyes fill up and they just know what it's like to have that warmth, that unconditional spiritual, Creator, God, higher heart love. It's just beautiful.
And is it something that you can manage with a client? Is it one session, or is it a series of sessions, or is it up to them to decide how they feel once they've left as to whether or not they need to do further work?
Yeah, they'll know. 99% of the time it'll be more than one session, because they'll go away and they'll feel good. And then something else, it's we're the onion layers. I know it's cliche, but it's what we do. It's the unraveling. Somebody might not come back until next year, or they might not come and they might be content with what they're feeling at that point in time. It might have shifted enough for you to just have that one. But if you have the first one and then you book a couple of more, it's fine tuning. And that's why I did, like I said, the Louise Hay 10-week course twice, bang, back to back, straight after one another. Because when you go in and you're clearing stuff, and that's why people are redoing the manifestation flowchart course. It's a life course. When you finish it, it resets and you can start it again. So the more that you do that sort of work and refine it, then you're getting down and you're getting to exactly what you need to shift. But it's the trust in the Creator. So it's not my words. I'm channeling from the Creator, and it's going straight from the Creator to the person. So it's a roadmap. It goes straight to the thing. But you've also got to be aware that some people aren't ready to hear that. So a client might come in and sit down and the Creator's saying, right, we're going here. And the problem and the belief might be here. But we just need to go that way for the client to have that investment into getting down to that belief so that they can actually feel it go. Everything that I do is the Creator. If the Creator says, no, you can't do that, then we don't do that. It's the same with my readings. When I'm doing readings and I'm channeling, if the Creator will go straight to what the client needs to know for their highest good. And that's, you've got to have that faith, that full trust in what the Creator's saying. Yeah.
Yeah, and I always have that conversation with my clients. It's just that, I'm here to give you all the tools and the strategies, and I can help you manipulate your energy and show you what to do, but you have to take the action, and you have to be at that place where you're ready to accept it and take the action. So none of us can heal you. You can heal you. We'll just give you the tools. Are there practices that you then give the client to take away and do, or is it pretty much, I've had this session, I'm now embodying the energy and I've had that release and I just pretty much now live through that?
Yeah, changes the vibration, the frequency. So it's not something that, unless they're doing the course, if they do the course, then there's homework and stuff that they've got to do. But with a Theta session, no, it once you lift it and you remove it through a Theta brainwave, it's done. It's gone. There might be a little branch off to another feeling. But that's what we do. We're removing them. So in the session, we're going remove, replace, but not that quick, and it's done very gently. And then the energy, the vibration changes. The client does not need to do anything. Because they don't feel like that anymore. That's like a memory, but it's not a memory as in, I drove to the shop, half an hour ago. It's a memory like, yeah, I remember that, but you're removed from it. It's like a movie that you
So it doesn't give you the trigger anymore.
Yeah, the trigger's not there. No. And half the time they don't even realize that the path they've been on was a trigger or something to learn. It's all about learning lessons. but they don't know, but they know that they feel differently, and they know that their outlook and their energy's changed. And so they're automatically in that. Once you've felt it, it's, no going back.
Amazing. I'm
Yeah.
really tempted. I'm really tempted to come and have one now because I've never experienced it. Is it something you need to do in a face-to-face room, or can you do this online with someone?
I can do this online. So if you want to close your eyes now, do you give me permission to get the Creator to fill your every cell of your body with unconditional love?
Sure, we can do a demo for the listeners.
Why not? I'd love to give it to you anyway.
All right.
Close your eyes, Michelle. And
Mhm.
I'm just going to go up to the Creator and just, Creator, it is requested that you fill every cell of Michelle's body with unconditional love. And I'll just witness that. You just breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth as you allow every cell of your body to be filled with unconditional love. Thank you. It is done. It is done. It is done.
And it's as simple as that. I do feel that wash of energy as you go into it. But I'm assuming when you actually are in a session, you then are deep diving into what does the client feel? What are they seeing?
Yeah.
So you're getting a feedback loop. So you know where to then go with it.
Yeah. Like I said, I witnessed it. So I started witnessing you. I was up on the seventh plane, and I started witnessing you receiving that. And when I started witnessing, I went, it is done, it is done, it is done, because I could see it happening. So when a client is when we're removing stuff, half the time I don't even talk or say what we're releasing. We found the bottom belief, and we talk about it, and then I sort of basically, because I've been doing it for a while, go up and just go, take care of that.
Mm.
And it's really quick, and it's really, you can feel it. Sometimes it feels like there's smoke wafting off you, and it just feels like there's energy coming off. And then when it's coming in, it feels sort of like a wave coming in, and it just happens like that.
Yeah, I definitely can. It's like when I have a distance healing, you feel the energy wash through you. It's quite warm.
Yeah.
Or for me, that's how I experience it anyway. Yeah.
But
Amazing.
it's not coming through me, so it's a clearer channel. It's coming straight created to you. I don't need to feel. I think that's ego was the tough thing with that, because we're so used to readers and psychics, and I'm a medium as well, certified medium as well, and Reiki master. We're so used to feeling what the client feels, and we know their pain, their illnesses, and I've gone, oh my God, what's going on with my heart? Oh, did your dad pass away with a heart attack? That sort of stuff. But Theta Healing, it doesn't have to come through me, but I can see it, and I have a knowing, and it doesn't need to come. And it really helps the energy be, balanced, and there's no tired feeling, or you don't feel drained because you're doing the healings. It's not coming through me. So I've got to deal with the Creator that my cup is refillable, and whatever ripples out is okay, but my cup is refillable. So I just live a life of synchronicity. I rest when I need rest, and I don't when I don't. And I just do, I'm open to all the synchronous opportunities that happen.
So, well, I definitely learned something today, because I had heard it as a term, but I didn't actually have any understanding of what it was. Your other key offering is your manifestation flow chart.
Yes.
Do you want to just quickly take the listeners through that, for anyone who really, and I don't think there's anybody out there today that doesn't want to know how to manifest, because it's such a key word everywhere.
Yeah.
What that actually looks like, and how it can work for people.
Yep. So there's 5 modules. There's over 30 videos. It's got meditations in there, worksheets, prompts. I've got a 6-week program coming out on the 4th of March that your listeners can join with me, and I'm going to work through the modules with an intimate group, and we're going to have a weekly Zoom call to get through it. Now, it is, like I said, an ascension course, so it is removing blocks and patterns. We're getting your foundation so that you can keep this manifestation. There's so many bloody manifestation courses out there, and so many people are doing it, and there's a 100K year, and you make 10 grand in 1 week and whatever. Some of my clients have had small things change for them in their life that has had such a big impact, because everybody's abundance is a different size, and it means different things when you're manifesting. And it takes you through that core level, that self-awareness. It teaches you to know your own energy, to be accountable, to have clarity. And as we build through the modules, and I made it in a way that you have, when you're doing module 1, you have to do the lessons in concession in one after another, and you can't get into module 2 until you do that. So you can't get out of not doing the work. And I had one lady say, I've been thinking about doing that manifestation flowchart course of yours, but it looks like it'll take me a bit of work. And
that unfortunately, it is all a bit of work.
And I said to her, what you put into it is what you'll get out of it. And we move through like relationships. We have relationships with everything in our life. Money, career, people, everything in our life. And we go through that, we go through money, and at the end, we work through how you integrate it and work with it. And like I said, it resets. There's a bit of a fun module in the middle of it. We have a bit of a play in one of the weeks in the middle, and you can go and have a bit of fun. And with that week is people are really starting to be aware of them being present and seeing the magic in the ordinary, and that they don't normally see. And so it is surprising. I don't know if you know Marina. She was at the Alibi Awards. She has motivational marketing, and she did the course. And what she asked for in the course was, I want somebody to come in and help me with my budget and help me save money. And so that's a couple of modules in. And the next day she got an email from Koshi on Channel 7, the financial show that he's got, and asked if they could come around and film him going through her budget. And the next day, him and the film crew turned up, went through her budget, saved her $2,000 and paid her $1,000 for doing it. And she went, oh my God, Linda, if I had done your course, I wouldn't have even been in that thought process. So it doesn't matter how big it is or how small it is. Other people have started businesses, and they've left their normal job and started their business because, it just makes you so aware of your energy, and you're building that energy with the Creator so that you're tapped in and you know how to do that. And you know how to see the signs and the synchronicities. Anyway, it's the Manifestation Flowchart course, and you can find it at lindawillowroberts.com.au. But if you want to join the 6 weeks course with me, shoot me a message.
That's the one starting in March?
Yes, on the 6th of March.
We'll put all of that information in the show notes.
Yeah.
But yeah, and manifestation is like that. And it does happen really fast. I mean, I know. And once you understand how to do it, and your course will give you that baseline, you never lose it.
No.
It's then, and it almost becomes, I know I have to be very careful. It almost becomes a point where you're like, be careful what you wish for. Because you get to a point where it becomes automatic. You don't have to actually go through the, think it, feel it, visualize it, take act. It just becomes part of what you do automatically. And I often have to catch myself and go, oh no, I don't want to focus on that.
Yeah. I used to say to my daughter when we go anywhere, okay, Spirit, take care of everything, and I'd like to see something I've never seen before. And then I can't remember what happened. And Holly said to me, in future, can you say with no harm to anybody? And I went, okay. I can't even remember what it was. It wasn't something really drastic, but it was like something we hadn't seen. Oh, I know what it was. She lived in the outback in Queensland, and we were at Mackay. No, we'd been to Airlie Beach for the weekend, and we had a bottle of champagne in the back of her car. And I think the temperature was about 40 degrees.
Oh.
We nearly got to Nebo, and I wound the window. Oh, look, I'm going like wound, actually. Press the button.
Push the button, yeah.
Showing our age. It's showing my age, yeah. Push the button for the window to come down only a little bit, just to stick my finger out to see how hot it was, and the bottle of champagne in the back exploded. It was like the cabin pressure had done, been opened and it exploded, and we both ducked because it sounded like a gun had gone off. And that's when she said to me, can you make sure that you put a disclaimer on the end of that? Because it does, when you're open and you're excited and you're curious and you want to see things, and feel things differently, the universe already reads your signature, your vibration. It just brings things. So yeah, that was something that I'd never seen before.
And I mean, anyone that's ever listened to Abraham Hicks, and if you haven't,
yeah,
go on
vortex.
YouTube,
Yeah.
the minute you think it's in your vortex, and the minute you align to it, you will come and smack you across the back of the head. So be careful what you think and what you want. I'll make sure that all that information's in the notes. So if anybody wants to jump on that course with Linda, definitely go for it. There's nothing more fun than learning how to manifest, because the process of learning it is fun.
Yeah.
And doing the experimentation and doing the testing and then having it happen, and you go, okay, that was that. So it's
and then you go, did you see that? Did you see what happened then? Yeah.
I know. And then you tell everybody and they're like, what? It's like, you have to do it, you have to live it.
Yeah.
So just for people who are listening who are thinking that they could benefit from probably more your healing structure and that side of what you do.
Yep.
If they're now sitting in that space and they're listening to us and they're going, oh, okay, this sounds like me, and maybe this is an action I can take, before they actually get to that point, is there something that you could suggest to them to just do right now, today, that will at least start them on that path of being aware and being curious about their situation?
Yep. First, I want to ask two questions. So if you answer yes to this, then you need to do something. Do you like your life? Do you feel stuck? And if you answered no and yes, then you really need to have a good self-analysis tool on what you're vibrating and how you are at this point in time. So whatever experiences and however you feel internally at this point in time shows up in your external world like that. So you need to be in the feeling that you want to attract. It's not about affirmations. It's not about, saying the right thing, although I do correct myself a lot and say Control Alt Delete that, but it's about the feeling that you want to have. So when I don't feel like I've got any momentum, I'll go to the gym and I'll get on the treadmill, or I'll go somewhere I've never been before so I can stay present and have that curiosity, that new perspective. So you can do things that don't cost money to change your vibration, but it's got to be at a soul level. You can't fool the creator, the universe, spirit. They can see to your soul exactly how you feel. So acknowledging how you feel and asking yourself a question at any given point in time, how does this make me feel? You're going to start becoming aware of your energy and how your external world is showing up for you, and you know that that's coming within. Do you know the quickest way that you know if somebody's on a self-development road or not is they stop blaming other people and they start working on themselves. So if anything happens, I always go, where is that in me? And that self-analysis tool and knowing yourself and your energy is the best thing that you can do, and asking yourself at any given time, how does this make me feel? And know that you're loved just because you exist. And that's basically where you would start.
And I also agree, and it's one of the things I always say to my clients, you have to, first of all, turn that noise down. And however you find a way to do that, go to the gym, go for a walk, make a cup of tea and sit in your garden. You've got to take that time to just be in your own company and be present and allow yourself to hear yourself.
Yeah.
So it's just so interesting that every time I speak to people and I ask these questions, we all kind of have the same answer, is like,
yeah,
this is what you need to go and do. So take it from Linda and I, who are both in our 60s, and we've lived this experience.
I'm only just 60. I'm not saying 60s yet.
Oh, see, I turned 61 this year, so I'm now in my 60s.
Oh, I don't think I'm going to say 60s until I'm about 65.
Okay, well, that works. Yeah. But yeah, we've lived it, and we can tell you that if you just take on board even a smidgen of the things that you hear us say or other people to say to you, it will make exponential changes in your world. And still in that vein, so with everything you know, and you've been practicing for 35 years, so all of the practices that you embody are now just part of your everyday normal.
Oh, it's morphed into,
Yeah. What are some of the things that you do now that actually allows you to live very deliberately?
everything. Absolutely everything I do, how I speak, what I do, what I wear. I've given up a lot of addictive behaviours and blocks and patterns. I've still got a couple to go that aren't that bad, but I've still got a couple to go. So it's just me being in my space and owning my own behaviour. And it's allowing myself to I think it's awareness and acceptance. Awareness of where you are, but the acceptance in the reality. You know, we as empaths and intuitives, and when we meet people, we can actually, and because I'm a reflector, we can actually see people's potentials. So you need to have that awareness of reality and the acceptance of what is happening for you to be able to shift. So I'm aware of that. You know, if I don't feel like doing something and I go like, what am I doing? I'll just go and lay on the couch, and I could do that for 2 days. And last night I started doing some creative things for my content, and I started that about 7 o'clock last night. And you know, I just move, and it's easy because I'm by myself. So when I'm working on myself, I am by myself, so I've only got to worry about me. It's a bit harder for people in life and with kids and partners and stuff like that. But it is being aware all the time. That's my life. That's how I live. And I've been saying it. I say to my family sometimes, who I might add, had a intervention for me when I came out of the spiritual closet. But I say to my family, in front of my family, they'll be all talking about their illnesses, and I'll go, I'm not my family nor my family's health problems. And they'll just go, yeah, whatever. And so it doesn't matter where I am. I'm always living like that. Not everything is perfect in my life. I'm human. I'm here to learn things and do things, and I go through shitty times, you know, and it does fluctuate. Used to fluctuate like a roller coaster. Now it's sort of a bit more of a wave. But yeah, you just acknowledge the lesson for what it is.
Oh, yes. And none of us that are in this practice are under any illusion that it never gets to a point where nothing happens.
No.
It just doesn't happen quite as extreme, and you pick up on it quicker. But trust me, listeners, it still happens, and we still get that smack when we don't pay attention.
Yeah.
It just becomes a little bit quicker to pick up on it, so the smack's not quite so hard. It's like Kylie King, who is the Alibi founder, like she does past life regressions, and she just likes to say, you know, you're getting hit in the face by a Mack truck. Well, the Mack trucks just get a little bit smaller.
Control-Alt-Delete that, but yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I've had some weird past life stuff come up. Oh my God, traveling and seeing some of the things that I've seen, you know, we're standing on the bridge at Bath in England, and it was just went back to like the 1700s, and I could see all these people walking around, and Karen might have said to me, you know, what are you doing? And I just stood there and looked, you know, it felt like minutes, but it was probably only seconds. But and there was another really cool one, was down past Hobart in Tasmania, there's a place called Peppermint Bay. And my daughter thought that she might have got married there years ago. And I stood there, and all I could see was these old logging people and the logs in the water. But I'd never seen a picture, or I don't even know if that's what they did there. But this it was just like in black and white. It was just beautiful. But I've stood in Egypt and felt, oh no, I've sat in the Great Pyramid up the top. I've laid in the sarcophagus. But the Egyptologist said to me when I went in, he said, when you go up the stairs, sit with your back against the west wall. I went in, sat on the west wall, put my back up against it. Next minute I could feel it going boom. And then my heart started beating with it. And it was like, oh my God, I've done this before. Like you just get the God bumps all over you, and you just know I've been here before.
It's just been amazing speaking with you and getting all that information and learning about, other modalities that are out
Yes.
there that just are there to help us through our everyday human experience. Do you have any books that people can go to that you think might assist them?
This is my symbol behind me. This is my logo. 7/8 of Me, A Tale of a Spiritual Adventurer. It is a light-on book. It's me discovering the world and what I see when I go to places. So it's talking about when I was flying over England in the plane for the first time I was going there. My dragons come in to meet me, and I got embarrassed. I'm sitting on a plane with nobody that I know, going bright red, thinking, "Oh my God, who can?" Because they were like flying past, so I could see these dragons, nobody else could. And just the different things that happen on the journey in different countries. So that is a real, it's a bit of a fun book. I have got my next book at the editor at the moment, and that's a little bit darker. Some of the darker places and things that I've seen in other countries. And it starts off about my father passing away, and I asked the family, could I put this particular story in about Dad's death? And they said yes. And my editor said, Linda, can we change the first chapter, because I think it's a bit full on to be the first thing of the book? And I went, no, it's the story. It's that. So what happens to my dad when he passed away, and what I felt, smelt, and other things at his wake, and whatever else happens. That's the first chapter, and that leads into other things that's happened that are a bit on the darker side of being psychic and intuitive, empathic, and feeling, and just going with the flow. Like there's in the next book, there's a story. I was in Stockholm, and I was on a walking tour with this guy, and we were walking along, and he wanted to go into this cemetery to show me the grave of their president that had passed away. And I got some stuff about him, and he's on his phone looking and whatever. And he said, oh, this homeless person killed him. And I went, no, that's not right. And blah, 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 blah. It was in the police department. But anyway, we walked out of the cemetery, and it was like a couple of feet out onto the footpath. And I went, I've got to go back into the cemetery. And he said, why? And I said, I have to take a photo of something. And he said, what? And I went, I don't know. So I walked back in, went the opposite direction that we had walked through, and I walked up to this black tombstone cross, and I took a photo of it, and we walked out, and then we walked up this big hill, and I was walking along, and I went, oh, there's a lot of old religious energy there. And he said, yeah, there used to be a monastery, and priests and nuns lived there. And then we walked a diagonal across the road, and there was like this big mansion with this well, it would have been beautiful, but this garden, but I could see it in its heyday. And I said to him, oh my God, this is beautiful. It's like they're having garden parties, and I can see parasols, and, this is lovely. And he said, that tombstone that you just took a photo of? And I said, yes. He said, well, he's the one that built this house and owned it. But I didn't know, didn't question it, didn't ask him why. Because he said to me, why did you take a photo of that one? We just follow along, and some say, oh, you have blind faith. And no, I don't, because it's been proven so many times. I've got so many photos and things that have happened. You just do it. And that's being self-aware and accepting where you are at this point in time.
Fascinating. Talk about it all day, but we don't have enough time.
I can't shut up once I start.
Absolutely fantastic conversation. I really hope that the listeners got lots of great information out of that. So if you're feeling that Theta Healing might be something you want to investigate, I will put all of Linda's information and how you can touch base with her in the show notes, and links to her books. I'm assuming they're all on Amazon or one of the big...
they're on my website. So I've got sessions, and I've got courses, and I've got products. Then you can go into the about and see about my credentials.
Awesome. So I'll put all that in there for you.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for joining me and having this conversation. And for everybody listening, thank you so much for spending time with myself and Linda today. And if this conversation has stayed with you, You're more than welcome to follow my podcast so you know when my next episodes are dropping. Please share this with anybody that you think might be interested and would get something out of this. And until next time, please keep weaving your own threads of becoming. Thanks so much, Linda.
Thank you, Michelle.
Bye.